Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Let's have a read of this week's word problem. The Sadiq family are taking a road trip. Their cottage is 300 miles away. It took them 2 hours to drive the first 120 miles, driving at the same speed all the way to their cottage. Find the speed at which the Sadiq family are driving and how much longer will it take them to get to their cottage.
It's like every day.
This week I'm going to be using the proportion, setting up a proportion. So what's the first thing we do here with this question? We got to set up a proportion because we want to find the unit rate. So if it took them 2 hours, right now we're finding the speed, right? So that's the first thing we're doing, find the speed. So if it took them 2 hours to drive the first 120 miles, we want to know what's the unit rate. So how long would it take them to drive for 1 hour? You know, you can probably know what to do, but we're going to do it setting up a proportion. So it took, let me see, 120 miles. Right, so they did the first 120 miles and then you put 2 hours. Right, so we're going to set up our proportion here. And then we know that with a proportion, obviously, you have to keep everything proportional. So if you have the 2 hours under here, we want to find out how long it took for 1 hour. So we got to keep the 1 hour under the line. So what we're trying to find out here is the x, which is how many miles, right? So with proportions, you're going to do a quick cross multiplication. So 2 times x, 2x equals 1 times 120 is 120. And then what you find out now is, you know, the traditional way we knew we were going to have to do a division. So this is what it boils down to here. 120 divided by the 2. And we're dividing because 2 times x, if you have nothing in between here, 2 times x, the opposite of multiply is divide. That's why now the 2 goes under through division. And 2 goes into 120 60 times. Right? So now we know that the speed that they were driving was 60 miles per hour. Now we have a second part to the question. So the second part said, how much longer will it take them to get to their cottage? So we're looking at time now, right? So what did we see here? Okay, so 300 miles, right? So we want the speed. No, we're looking for, it will take them how many hours to get to the cabin, right? So we have, they were 300 miles away, but they drove the first 120 miles. So what we want to do, we want to subtract that 120 miles to see how much they have left, right? So when it says how much longer, that's why we're subtracting, because we want to find out how much they have left. So we got 300 and we're taking away the 120 miles, not 80, right? So this 0 here, right? 10 take away 2 is 8, 2 take away 1 is 1. Okay, so here we have, they have 180 miles left to go, right? What do we do with that 180? So what we have to do now is set up another proportion. And this proportion, we want to see how many hours it will take them to get to the cabin. So we have 180 miles. Right, so we don't know how long, so that's why the x now is going to go at the bottom here. And then on the other side of the proportion, remember, if miles is over here, we have to put the miles over here, and we already find out that it was 60 miles in 1 hour, right? So we know that that was that one there. So here we go again with a cross multiplication. So we have 60x, x times 60, 60x, and 1 times 180 is 180. Now we have to find out what the x is, right? So we do the same thing we did, 180 divided by 60, right? Because 60x is 60 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division, So we get rid of that. That's the 0 trick there. And how many times does 6 go into 18? It goes 3 times. So that means it's going to take them another 3 hours, right, to get to their cottage. Of course, how long it takes to their cottage could also be found out by using the formula distance equals rate times time. So you would say 180 equals 60 times t, because t is what we're trying to find out, which will still end up with you dividing 180 over 60, which would still give you t equals 3 hours. Like, comment and subscribe with that notification bell so you know every time I upload, which is every Wednesday. And I will see you next time in another math video. Thank you for watching. Class dismissed.